You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, as it is officially Monday, March the 3rd, 2025, and we've got a busy show ahead. Yes, we're thinking about, and we're going to be talking about postseason basketball, but coming off of a conference indoor track meet, MIAA Indoor Championships, which just wrapped up yesterday. Baseball, softball now getting ready to enter conference play. Baseball's already there. Softball with their conference opener this week. Missouri Western Lacrosse with another match they're going on the road this week. So much to get to. And men's golf currently playing at Shadow Valley Country Club in Rogers, Arkansas to get their season started. That teed off early this morning. So that's a bit of a taste of what we're talking about here over the next hour or so. Here on the GSI Podcast, I'm Tommy Rezach, as we are broadcasting live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Network, the Varsity Network app, and at gogriffons.com/listen. Like I said, plenty to get to over the next hour. We'll recap the MIAA Indoor Track Championships with Cody Ingold and one of our all-MIAA honorees, senior Allyssa Mahone, capturing all MIAA accolades on Saturday in weight throw. She will be up to talk with us as she and Mackenzie Garr get ready now for the national meet, the indoor national meet, March 13th and 14th in Indianapolis. Mackenzie Garr, of course, capturing a conference title in shot put just yesterday. So congratulations to Bella and Mackenzie on a terrific weekend there. Just up the road in Maryville, competing on Saturday and Sunday. Jessica Berg of Missouri Western Lacrosse will be along a bit later. The Griffons enter the week at 2-2, scored the win over the Westminster Griffons from Utah on Thursday, and then an overtime loss by a single goal to Colorado Springs on Saturday afternoon. The Griffons now get set to play Northern Michigan, a team out of the GLIAC Conference. They'll play this Friday at 2 o'clock, and that match will actually be played in Quincy, Illinois, on the Quincy University campus. Again, that match on Friday set to start at 2 o'clock, and then a week from Friday, Lacrosse back home to Concordia St. Paul. Missouri Western softball becoming one of the hottest teams in the conference right now. Winners of 5 straight, 11-6 overall. Boy, did they have a good weekend. Went to the Mid-America Sports Complex in Shawnee, Kansas. It's the same place that hosted the conference tournament a couple years ago, and they played in the Top Gun Midwest College Classic. 4 wins over Minnesota State, Southwest Baptist, Maryville, and Rockhurst. We'll talk with junior shortstop Ayva McComas, a first-year Griffon and an All-American transfer from Northeastern Junior College, which is in Sterling, Colorado, northeast part of the state. So we'll talk with Ayva and Coach Nicole Thompson a bit later on about a terrific weekend. Softball opens MIAA play at Fort Hays State. That comes up Saturday, 12 and 2 p.m. Those are the last road games for softball before we finally get their home opener against Upper Iowa a week from this Wednesday. So that'll be exciting stuff there. We'll talk Missouri Western baseball as well. They had their first road conference series of the year. They went to Fort Hays State, and no question, things got off to a rough start there on Friday with Hays winning 14-1, and then both games on Saturday, Sunday for baseball. Very competitive, but yet the Tigers beat Missouri Western on Saturday and Sunday 3-2. In both of those games. So baseball still seeking their first conference win of the season. They'll come back home to try and do it. Northeastern State is in town this weekend for a 3-game series. Those games starting Friday at 4, Saturday at 2, Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's Missouri Western baseball at home. And of course, men's and women's basketball both qualifying for the MIAA Conference Tournament. Those brackets released on Saturday evening shortly after our senior day victories against Newman there at the Missouri Western Fieldhouse. The women's basketball team 19-8 overall, 14-5 in the MIAA, capturing the number 3 seed in the MIAA tournament. We will face Arkansas Fort Smith, and yes, they stuck us with the late game on Friday at 8:15. That's just kind of how it works when you have to play all those sessions and you have to get in a ton of games every single day. So Missouri Western women's basketball, they'll be the final game on Friday, 8:15 against Arkansas Fort Smith, and then the Griffons, should they win, they'd get to Saturday semifinals to play. It's likely Fort Hays State, but it could be Emporia State or Central Missouri. Emporia and UCM women's basketball playing a play-in game on Wednesday for the chance to play Hayes in that other quarterfinal. Men's basketball, 18-12 overall, 9-10 in the MIAA. Along with Coach Ashton Feldhaus and Coach Will Martin, sophomore guard Matt Schneider, who came off the bench for 7 huge points in that win against Newman on Saturday. He's going to join the program a little bit later as men's basketball, the number 6 seed in the MIAA tournament, and admittedly a challenging but intriguing matchup in quarterfinals. 3 seed Rogers State, that's the opponent for the men. Rogers 22-9 entering the tournament, so that's a big game on Friday afternoon at 2:15. Both of those games, as always, or at least since 2003, at the Municipal Auditorium in downtown Kansas City, which that was some news last week, the MIAA announcing that the conference basketball tournament will stay at Municipal through 2030. They had that contract coming up. There were negotiations. There was discussion about a venue change. It'll stay at Muni, the MIAA basketball tournament, through at least the year 2030. And I would say this, too. There's construction going on. There's limited parking that's right by the arena. So make a plan, look at your maps, have an idea where you want to park, and get down there early because there are some road closures in the immediate vicinity of Municipal Auditorium. So both men's and women's basketball play Friday. The men at 2:15, the women at 8:15. Again, pregame at approximately a half hour before tip-off. So we'll be on the air with the men on Friday at 1:45 in the afternoon, and then our women put on the coffee, stay up late because Missouri Western women's basketball will hit the air Friday night at approximately 7:45 p.m. for pregame, with the tip-off coming up at 8:15 p.m. on Friday night. So that about covers all the ground. We're going to hear from 6 coaches in all, 3 student athletes. We hope you'll stay with us over the next hour. We will take our first break, and when we come back, we'll lead things off with indoor track and field, coming off of the MIAA Indoor Championships on Sunday. And before the outdoor season starts, 2 Griffons will compete in the National Indoor Meet in a couple of weeks at Indianapolis. We talk with one of those 2 national qualifiers, Allyssa Mahone, an all-MIAA thrower in weight throw, now a 4-time all-MIAA honoree at Missouri Western. She and Coach Cody Ingold will be up here next on the GSI Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Network. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, this is the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, off and running on this Monday. I'm Tommy Rezach, leading things off with Missouri Western Track and Field as the indoor season for most of the Griffons now concluded, with the MIAA Indoor Championships wrapping up just yesterday afternoon, evening from the Hughes Fieldhouse in Maryville. But for 2 Griffons, they now look toward the Indoor National Meet, March 14th and the 15th in Indianapolis. Yes, yesterday Mackenzie Garr, a conference champion in shot put, but the day before, Allyssa Mahone, the senior from Strawn, Texas, a 3-time All-American, now 4-time All-MIAA thrower, a pair of top 5 finishes for Bella over the weekend, 5th in shot put Saturday, and 3rd in the weight throw that same day, or 5th in shot put Sunday, beg your pardon, 3rd in weight throw on Saturday, and improving on an NCAA provisional mark in shot put. So Bella, starting with you, congratulations. What a great weekend for this throwers room yet again. To be on the podium now 4 times in the MIAA in your career here at Western, just thoughts on how that weekend went overall?
I think the weekend went pretty good. I've never medaled indoor for MIAA, so that was great, especially for my senior year. I was really excited about that, and being able to hit a 19 again, that was pretty cool. And yeah.
Yeah, the weight throw, which put her in the top 3, 62 feet, 8 inches. And then on Sunday, Mackenzie's winning throw in shot put, 49 feet, 1 3/4 inches. But, Coach, some other standouts to note about Sam Hydro making the finals in the 600. He set a school record in prelims, placed 8th. A top 6 finish on Saturday for the men's distance medley relay team. Lillian Cutler, Sunday, led things off in the track event, set a school record, placing 7th in the mile. Anissa Abdul Hamid, a solid weekend in the 600. Placed 6th, setting a new PR there, and Pal Valderrama, top 5 in the 3,000-meter run. So plenty to be proud of all across the board there.
Yeah, just a little bit of everything. You know, I think we missed in jumps. That was about it.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
You know, we scored in almost every event we entered. You know, the biggest miss, unfortunately, was Batman in the hurdles.
Sure.
He just crushed hurdle 2, and he was first one out, and that killed me.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to show up on the day, and unfortunately, we weren't in the right place. In a couple places, we 9th, 10th, and 11th. We had a lot of those, which stinks, but it is what it is. We got to continue to show up, and I know I don't sound excited, but I was really excited with how we competed. And you know, like with Bella and the throws, that was probably the deepest competition for weight throw, I'd say in the history of any conference. Maybe it was 5 girls over 19, which is ridiculous. Shot, she threw 1470 and got 5th, and it's 15th in the country. Like, it's just, it's that part's just, it's wild to me. And every year we go to MIAAs, we do these outstanding things, and it's like, keep making these big jumps, and then you see the big picture, and it's like, wow, we got a little ways to go. But distance program ran really well. Middle distance, and throws took care of business. I got to do a better job on the hurdle, sprints, jumps format, or the way I'm coaching those guys, and have them ready, because we should have placed higher, and that's on me. So.
Certainly, and then as Coach mentioned, Bella Mahone ranked 15th in the nation in weight throw, improving upon in shot, 15th in shot, 8th in weight throw. Beg your pardon, but improved that Provo mark in shot put just yesterday. And Bella, you mentioned now this is your first All MIAA honor on the indoor side, but it's not your first time going to nationals. In the indoor, you were an All-American in both shot and weight throw last March, and you'll be competing in both of those events in Indianapolis, not this week, but next, March 14th and 15th. I guess just for you, you've been in a lot of these big meets by now. You're a senior. I mean, I know you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself always, but is there at least some comfort level knowing, hey, I've been here, I've done this before?
I think so. I think it'll be different going to Indianapolis. We haven't competed there ever, so at Pitt last year, we go to those meets, and I was familiar with the ring, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's the difference. Track's a track, but throwers are a little bit different because I don't remember. I think they throw off a platform there, but sometimes, like at Nebraska, they throw off of concrete that's built in. They just have it. So I think it's a platform, so it shouldn't be too much different. But rings all have different consistencies. Talked to a coach. Our old throws coach actually went to a meet there and said it's very similar to the ones we throw at. So. Good thing is it's a festival year, so we have to be there on Tuesday. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get in the rings and become familiar with it. I was joking with Bella on the way home. I'm glad this isn't their first rodeo, because festival year is just a little bit different than most national titles. So if it was their first time, they'd go to this one and then they'd go to outdoor and be like, "What is this?" It's going to be a long it's a long weekend, but it's going to be a cool event. So.
Well, not only does the venue and the platform change a little bit, but so do the events between indoor and outdoor. Bella Mahone second at nationals in discus last year in the outdoor season. And then it's not weight throw and outdoor; it's hammer throw. It's what looks like a shot put on a string on a rope, basically. But that being said, Bella, is there a preference? Do you like discus more? Do you like being outdoors more? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I like being indoor more because it's not as hot.
Sure.
But I like the outdoor events a lot more.
Yeah. And then hammer and weight throw, I guess I never really thought about that till this weekend. What is the main difference in strategy with those two?
I don't know.
She just throws them.
Throw really hard. Yeah.
The hammer is 16 pound or 12 pound 16 ball. It's a shot, same size as a shot, right?
8 pounds.
Oh, it is
8 pounds. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4K on the end of a 36-inch wire. Where weight throw is just a handle and like a 12-inch,
right.
I think. So there's a little bit more. You got to be more patient. You got to wait for it. You're moving a lot quicker. So, those are the biggest differences, really. And weight, obviously. It's
less strain on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Allyssa Mahone, commonly known as Bella, the senior from Strawn, Texas, along with head track coach Cody Ingold joining us. And Bella, now I meant to ask you before you come up. So, in this post-COVID era, I'm always this is it for you in terms of your college career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, eligibility. Okay. So you spent your freshman year at Angelo State, your home state, and did well there. Look back and a lot of top 10s, even top 5s. I guess I'm curious. This is the first time I've gotten to interview you. I've seen you perform a couple of times, but what was your main motivator in coming here? And as you get ready for this home stretch this spring, I don't know. How do you summarize your time at Western? Has it been what you hoped it would be?
Yeah, I liked it. The environment's great. Teammates are great. Coaches are great. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Not the cold. I don't like the cold.
It's fine. Makes you miss Texas a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I'll say, too, is
please.
She's had – Garrett recruited her. Matt Campbell was here for a year and a half, and then she's had Jordan and just sustained all of that. So to continue to get better under the uncertainty with coaching a little bit when we're going to be stable now. Jordan's lived here his whole life. He'll probably never leave, so that'll be great. But it's been awesome to see her and that group continue to just work towards the goals that we had set in place and the reason they came here. So
yeah. And again, Nationals coming up March 14th and the 15th. That's a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday. I'll officially look at that. But we'll know kind of more officially some of the times and things with that here this week.
She'll throw at 12:15. The weight throw I think is Friday, and then 12:30 is the shot put on Saturday. Okay. They're in Nationals, but we get official.
Right.
It comes out tomorrow by 6 p.m. and it's all super secret apparently until then. So
okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of the venue there in Indy?
You would ask me that.
I would.
It's like the Farm Bureau Fall something.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot. If you start typing Farm Bureau Fall and then put Indianapolis, it'll tell you. But it's a festival year, so I think it has to be able to hold wrestling and swimming, diving.
Okay.
So I'm sure there's only one of those in Indianapolis. I'll just drop a pin when I get there so you know where I'm at.
Well, that sounds good. Well, again, Bella Mahone and Mackenzie Garr both competing at Nationals. Yes, that is Friday, March 14th, Saturday, March 15th, as Mackenzie and Bella will compete in shot put, and Bella Mahone also competing in weight throw. And, I mean, not only are they going, but, I mean, they can bring home some hardware. Mackenzie Garr, 3rd in the nation in shot put. She's 15th in that event. And weight throw, Bella Mahone, top 10 in the country, number 8, the 8th highest mark in NCAA Division II in weight throw. And both of them all MIAA honors over the weekend in Maryville. So, Cody, Bella, thanks so much for the time. Congratulations again to you, and talk to you down the road.
Thanks, Tommy.
Appreciate the time. There you go. Bella Mahone and Cody Ingold leading us off. So cool. Saturday night and then again on Sunday afternoon to see that, in fact, we did have 2 Griffins reach the podium, and one of whom, Bella Mahone, giving us some time here today. We'll take a break. We'll talk Missouri Western lacrosse next, coming off of a Saturday match against the University of Colorado Springs. The Griffins will, after a 4-match homestand, they'll go on the road to Quincy to face Northern Michigan. That's coming up this Friday. We'll discuss it next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the GSI Podcast, I'm Tommy Rezach as we talk Missouri Western lacrosse, one of many spring sports that are now have their season well underway. The Griffins, 2 more matches at home, started on Thursday against the Westminster Griffins with an eye from Salt Lake City, Utah, and then UC Colorado Springs, a team we have seen now 5 years in a row. That was on Saturday. Honestly, pretty pleasant weather and pretty decent attendance for those, and we start on Thursday, the Griffins winning a defensive match, 12-7. The Griffins with an O, victorious on the day. Coach Jessica Berg is here, and you had a beautiful day first off on Thursday. You never trailed, 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. Ayva Garraway, 11 saves, and Katrin Gilreath, 4 goals. And defensively, you caused 17 turnovers. Just thoughts on your efforts on Thursday?
Yeah, I think it was a really good game. I think we shared the ball really well on offense. A lot of different people were scoring, a lot of different feeds, obviously, different ways to score. It was fun to see. Ayva crushed it in the cage, a lot of saves. She did really, really well, just kind of being the backbone of the defense. And, yeah, that's just nice to have sun.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have nice sunny weather and not be freezing. And on Monday, we just had 10 minutes of laying in the sun to just appreciate the good weather.
Certainly. Well, it wasn't all that bad Saturday either. We at least had some sunshine, a bit cooler perhaps, as we welcomed the Mountain Lions of UC Colorado Springs. And that match, I actually helped our statistician spot for a half and got off to a good start, off to a 5-2 start. And then it's obviously back and forth whole second half. Malia Sosa sending it to overtime with 24 minutes left regulation. But we know the Mountain Lions scored about a minute and a half into overtime and 16-15 the final there. Katrin Gilreath, though, good week for her. 5 more goals. Jordan Porter, 4 assists on Saturday. And Ayva Garraway ties a season high with 13 saves. They get that game winner, coach, on a free position, and we're a man down at that point. How do you kind of summarize Saturday's match?
Yeah, Malia shot that ball from like 10 yards out, and you don't usually shoot unless you're 8 or in, so I'm really glad it went in the last 20 seconds of play. It was risky, but it was fun and a good equalizer.
Sure.
We've got to stay out of the penalty box. We are in the penalty box way too often. In overtime, we put ourselves man down twice, so not just one time, but 2 times. We got the ball back in overtime, and for lacrosse, it's golden goal, it's sudden death,
Right.
So whoever scores first wins. And when you get the ball back on defense, that's a huge play. That usually doesn't happen in overtime, and then we just launch the ball. We just turn the ball back over, and turnovers are just killing us too. So it's very fine-tuning. It's just decision-making. It's doing what's best for the ball and not making the glory pass quite often.
I was going to say, I was asking a couple of questions I had about fouls, and there were kind of a lot of them in these matches. We were called on 30 in both matches, and for instance, on Saturday, Colorado Springs called on 14. But in lacrosse, it is a contact sport, right? And I guess for you, you've been a player, you're a coach now. How do you toe that line of, because you want your kids to be tough, to be aggressive, but there's probably a finesse to it, right? A certain strategy of be aggressive without getting your slate too dirty, right?
Yeah, so we're making the adjustments of you can't extend your arms, so our arms are in. Now we've got to make the adjustment of stopping our feet so we're not just plowing over the players, because they'll come home back and they're like, Coach Berg, we have our arms in, and I don't know why we're getting called. I'm like, you literally just ran over the person still. You can't do that. So just breaking down the feet. We relate it to basketball and closing out. It's very similar defense. So that's the main focus for this week is close out. Just keep them in front of you. We don't need to plow them over and push them back. We just need to prevent them from going forward.
Yeah, there were a lot of cards in Saturday's match. Altogether, 6 yellow cards, though, on the Griffins in that one on Saturday. So now we play Northern Michigan in this Friday in Quincy. That is a 2 o'clock start. Now, Northern Michigan out of the GLIAC, we played them last year, and they're off to a good start, 3-0, and it's played in Quincy, Illinois. And Northern Michigan, before they see us, they'll play the Quincy Hawks on Wednesday afternoon. We played them last year, lost. It was a fairly competitive one, low scoring, lost it 13-7. But New Year, they've played a couple of teams out of Wisconsin. I know that. How do you kind of size up this opponent?
Yeah, I think that we're going to be the hardest team they've played this season so far.
Okay.
So it'll be fun to put more pressure on them to put the ball in the back of the net. For us, it's staying true to us. I think we're just getting lost in focusing on the uncontrollables. We can't control the officials. We can't control how the other team is talking or being chippy, but we can control how we respond to it. And so focusing on, okay, we know what job we need to do. Let's focus on the job, focus on our goals, and focus on us, and everything else will be put into place. We're just, again, getting caught up in the things we can't control, don't need to focus on. Yeah. So Friday's game is going to be focusing on us. Yes, we're going to have the scout. We're going to know what they do. We're going to know what their plays are. But if we perform with our game plan, we execute our game plan, it's going to come out with a win.
Yeah, and so again, that match comes up on Friday the 7th in Quincy. Back home, Friday, March 14th against Concordia. And still several non-con matches till we get to conference play. You go to Northwood, Michigan on Sunday the 16th, at Walsh out of Ohio, Tuesday, March 18th. And then we host Dominican from California on March 31st. So, man, we've played them from all over the map this year, or we will anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. That's the tough part about lacrosse. We only have 7 teams in conference, so we have to schedule 11 non-conference games. You have to be very strategic. Obviously, we want to be put up competing against teams in region and moving forward every single year as a newer program still.
Yeah, certainly. Well, again, the next one comes up Friday, March 7th, 2 o'clock against Northern Michigan from Quincy, Illinois. And we'll be keeping track of that and full coverage of the match available at gogriffins.com. Live stats, live streaming info, all there as well. That's lacrosse head coach Jessica Berg. Coach, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go. Jessica Berg joining us on this part of the program. We'll take a break. We're going to end up talking baseball next. Coach Damian Stambersky is here as the Griffins, their game, I maybe failed to mention this in the opening segment, their game that was scheduled for tomorrow against Benedictine has been postponed due to the weather, so they will not be in action tomorrow night, but for now are scheduled to play Northeastern State in a conference series at home this weekend. So we'll talk about that next with Coach on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Keeping things going on the Griffin Sports Insider podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. I'm Tommy Rezach, talking Griffin baseball now with the head man Damian Stambersky. The Griffins had their first road conference series of the weekend, going down I-70 to take on Fort Hays State, and Hays getting a big win on Friday, but then 2 very competitive games Saturday, Sunday. But yet the Tigers do come away with those in close fashion, 3-2 each of the last couple of days. And Coach, I know Friday not at all what you wanted. We scored that first run, and then the floodgates kind of opened after that. But your team responded. I thought showed some heart. 9 hits in that game on Saturday. Lou Levy, Logan Winkleman combining to throw pretty solid stuff Saturday as well. Gunnar Narker goes 5 innings in a start Sunday. Just thoughts on how you thought your team responded after a tough one Friday.
They're a great group of kids, and they keep responding. They don't ever quit. They don't act like babies about what we're going through right now. And I'm very proud of who they are. They take care of their business, and they continue to support each other. We just got to get better at executing some things. And our margins are small, and that's the type of baseball that we want to play. Those last 2 games are exactly the type of baseball that we want to play. And over time we'll start to flip that belief that when we're in a tight game, that's our game to win. So, the stuff at the beginning of Friday, it actually was a much tighter game than what it looks like. Wind's blowing out at 30 miles an hour, and you end up, basically in a one-run game. But once it got to a couple because of the errors or the miscues that were happening, then it gets pretty easy to hit offensively. So they got a really good starter that we knew very well, and it looked like we were going to really make him work for it because the first inning we really hit him hard, and then, like I said, we scored, and then after that it was just too many mistakes to overcome.
Yeah, Frank Gall going yard to get the scoring started in a close game early, and then Hayes tacking on some runs, winning on Friday 14-1, but then, 3-2 results each of the last couple of days. Conversely, Saturday you get the bats going 9 hits. They hold us to 3 hits on Sunday. I guess offensively, still relatively early in the year. We've played 14 games already. How much are you guys constantly evaluating? What can we do differently? How can we change our approach? Because we've seen the flashes there for sure.
Absolutely. The changing of I don't know that there's a bunch of different moves to make. We're going to run with about 12 guys, and there's definitely some specific roles that need to get better. But the way that we go about what we do, we need to get worry and pressure out of the equation and just get to being athletic, because that's what we do best. So when we're able to apply pressure, be through the small game or just hitting the ball through the middle of the field, things go our way. But we need to move the baseball. We need to put the ball in play, and that's the biggest part that we'll be working on as we go forward.
I know some growing pains for some of the younger guys in your pen, but for guys like Lou and Logan and Gunner who showed you some stuff, how are you seeing those guys grow in your staff?
Well, again, you work all fall on doing things, and it's amazing. They get into the game situation, and I don't know if the JISC, the indoor, the fluorescent light sucks it out of us, but we revert back to stuff that they were able to get away with in high school and junior college, and it's all stuff that we talk about, but it's like, guys, the game can't make you revert back to what worked in the past, because every level the baseball gets better. So the biggest thing in the last 2 weeks that we've seen out of those guys is put the ball in play, stop giving them free 90s, hold runners in terms of being quicker to the plate, and just make them earn every bit of what they did. So I am perfectly great with what Gunner's done. I think his batting average against is quite inflated, but he's no longer walking people. He's no longer hitting people. He's forcing them to earn every bit of what they're doing. So he's putting the ball in play, and he's allowing our defense to work. And Lou's doing a good job of holding runners. He's got some plus stuff, and Winkleman's stuff is just too good for him. He's just got to get on the better side of making sure that he makes them earn their hits, because he's got swing and miss stuff.
So, briefly on the schedule, we had a pretty good idea probably by Saturday or Sunday for sure that this game against Benedictine, with the wind and possible snow that they're talking now, and rain as well during the day tomorrow, that game is postponed. The Doug Minnis charity game, you played it in Atchison last year. Any sort of a clue yet as to where we might make that up? Or?
The only shot looks like it could be in April. It's and I don't know that Coach Peterson would want to do that to his club as they're moving towards their playoff run, or if it will even fit into our deal. So it might be. It's definitely something that we know we're going to do every year. So it might just be we take a loss on this one, and then we'll make sure that we get after it next year.
Certainly. Well, you know for sure that the weather will start to improve by the weekend, as we'll welcome Northeastern State in for conference play with the first game on Friday at 4. And that's a conference series that we hosted. We swept last year. Now Northeastern, 6 wins, 8 losses, swept by a pretty good Rogers State team over the weekend. Now, maybe I'm forgetting this wrong, but you're fairly familiar with their staff over there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Coach Galloway is a legend in college baseball, so he's won more games than a lot of people, and Big 12 Coach of the Year. So, I mean, they'll do it right, and they'll be well coached for sure.
Yeah. I guess just for your guys, what do you hope to – again, we're 14 games in. We're in conference play. I know it's not reinvent the wheel, but with the weather and stuff coming in, there's going to be some indoor probably, just depending on what's going on. Just what do you hope your guys hone in on this week?
Do us better. If you watch us play, there'll be some times, to the outside looking in, as I watch a professional baseball game on TV, where it's like, well, how did they get thrown out right there? Well, that's what makes us go. We have to be forward moving and make the opposition handle the baseball. Hayes didn't handle the short game very well, so we did it a lot. So the more that we can do that and get every bite in the boat, it's really going to start to lean our way. And we believe in consistency and pounding the rock. And if you continue to hammer, eventually you'll break that dam down and the floodgates will open. So we're just going to continue to try to do us better and make sure that, we play Griff ball.
Yeah, a group working hard and itching for another victory as they'll get 3 chances to do that against Northeastern State Friday at 4, Saturday at 2, Sunday at 1. If you're discouraged about the snow, well, highs expected to get back to the 60s by the weekend. So hope folks can make it out to the Spring Sports Complex and cheer on the Griffs. MIAA play rolls on. But again, the Benedictine game tomorrow, postponed, a date to be determined. Stay tuned for that. Coach Stambo, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Tommy.
There you go. Damian Stambersky joining us fresh off the road after their 3-game series at Fort Hays State. He mentioned the wind at Hays. Does the wind ever not blow in Hays, Kansas? It's just so flat there. I feel like every time I hear from soccer or baseball, softball playing at Hays, it's always windy. And softball's going to find out. They're at Fort Hays State this weekend for their MIAA opener. But first, we recap a terrific weekend in the Top Gun Midwest College Classic down in Shawnee. Coach Nicole Thompson and shortstop Ayva McComas will join us next on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Back in a minute. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Insider podcast, I'm Tommy Rezach talking Griffon softball now with the head coach Nicole Thompson and a first-year Griffon, a junior shortstop from Erie, Colorado, and a JUCO All-American from Northeastern Junior College, which is in Sterling, Colorado. Ayva McComas, who is hitting the cover off the ball at times, down in Shawnee, Kansas at the Mid-America Sports Complex for the Top Gun Midwest College Classic. 4 wins for the Griffins over the weekend. Minnesota State, Southwest Baptist, Maryville, and Rockhurst. Coach, I think I can sum this up, hopefully, with 2 phrases. I would say elite to strong pitching, and then timely hits, particularly Ayva with a walk-off RBI to get it going on Friday, hit 3 home runs on the weekend. Things clicking. You played some good teams, and that's 5 wins in a row for your squad.
Yeah, I think you hit that one right on the nail.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I thought this group responded really well. We've kind of gained some momentum, and it was a quick turnaround from the Washburn. We played Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
We got the scouting report for the 4 games ready to go, and we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, and we were back going on Friday. And so when you have that quick of a turnaround, it's kind of hard to get prepared and going. And then this team has just done that a really good job all year long. I think I kind of hit on it. We started 1-4 after our opening weekend, and this team has just bought into getting back into practice, doing the little things, finding what our identity is as a team, trusting the process, and then just having belief in the end of it. And I think that's really kind of what got our momentum going and saw the success that we had this weekend.
Yeah, wins in 10 of the last 12 games now. And Ayva, 3 runs scored, 4 total hits. 3 of those 4 hits, home runs. Team best 9 RBI on the weekend. 5 assists, 3 putouts in the field as well. So you had 2 home runs, and one ended up being a come-from-behind win against Southwest Baptist, 8-7. 2-run bomb against Rockhurst, and then you score Maya Dwyer to win that one against Minnesota State. I don't know, what was working for you this weekend? What got your confidence up?
I've been working really hard. I had a lot to work on starting from fall to early spring, and just trusting the process, buying into my role. I think that's something we've been talking about a lot. And just going up there, see ball, hit ball, make it simple. Try not to put too much pressure on yourself. I think that's what's been working for me.
Now, Coach, I'm going to read you some more numbers here. 12 innings, 3 hits allowed, no runs, no walks, no hit batters, 16 strikeouts, 2 complete game shutouts. How do you put to words what Sydney Rader did, not only this weekend, but all season long?
I think I've been saying it all year long, but she's a dog, and I'm glad that dog is on my team. So she just has a presence about herself. She's so mature on the mound. I honestly think, too, we had some conference foes kind of scouting her, and people have said that she's kind of rebalanced herself and kind of figured out a new Sydney Rader, which is really scary for them to see us right now.
Yeah.
But I think she's done a really good job with Coach Steph and have really worked around some things. And, when you've been in a league for 5 years now, you have to find some different stuff. And so, we've added another pitch. We've got her to, kind of think about some different things. And we tell her all the time, trust me, I love those strikeouts, but if you just spin the ball and locate the ball, the defense has you. But she keeps on figuring out ways to get those strikeouts up, and I'm not going to complain about it at all. But just dominant in every way. She trusts our defense, and then when you have hitting that like Ayva had this weekend, and our bats to kind of come in and either come from behind or seal that victory and put that nail in the coffin, it does a lot for that pitching staff. And so, I can't say enough about Ayva. Ayva came in JUCO-wise.
Yep.
And now we've kind of switched her from that shortstop spot, and she's been starting in third base. And it's been in there. It was in there. I've known it when we recruited her, or when I recruited her. It's there. And part of it was me getting her a little bit more momentum, and so I did that Washburn. We moved her over to third base, and we got her in the lineup consistently, and I think that's just helped her wonders of seeing different pitching and consistently been in the lineup. And then I mean, her grind throughout weeks of practice is unmatched. I mean, she's in there taking extra reps. She wants to be better. She asks the right questions. She studies pitchers. And so for her to see that, or for me to see that flourish, and for her to get that confidence was really cool to see.
Yeah, Ayva, again, a transfer from Northeastern Junior College, a JUCO All-American. And Ayva, there's a ton of numbers I could read about your time there, but 53 homers, 159 ribbies over your 2 seasons there. I know Coach Thompson, while at Regis, was definitely interested in bringing you on board there, but, you follow her here to St. Joseph, and I imagine you probably Googled Missouri Western at least once, but when she got the job here, how much of a decision, if was it a decision to come and be a Griffon?
Yeah, honestly, I had a lot of options once she decided to leave, but it kind of wasn't an option for me. I love Nicole. I think that she's phenomenal coaching-wise. The way she coaches is the way I respond to the most, and I kind of knew that already. So it wasn't much of a decision. I didn't see myself in St. Joseph. I wanted to stay in Colorado for a bit, but I'm really happy I made the decision, and I really like it here, and I do not regret following her at all.
Yeah, for Nicole from Loveland, and of course Ayva from Erie. Only about a half hour separate those two towns north of the Denver metro there. God, I love Colorado, but that's for another time. Conference play begins this week on the road at Fort Hays State at noon and 2. Last road games before our home opener at long last next week against Upper Iowa. Tigers off to a strong start. They're 8-4 right now, I believe 4-0 in conference play. What's the big key to these two this weekend?
They've always been able to pitch the ball well. That's Fort Hays for them, and so I think that's going to, we get back into the scouting report. But I think what we have done well right now is if we have stayed true to ourselves, and we have found the identity of what this team, and we can pitch it really well too. And so right now, when we have now found the momentum offensively, we can score in different ways, and I think that's going to cause havoc for Fort Hays. And so knowing what they're really good at and where our strengths are at, we just got to be better at it. And we try to get a home game this week, but of course Wednesday's now weather looked horrible, and so we have taken that off the schedule. And so I think it will give us some time though to kind of rest our bodies a little bit. We only have that doubleheader on Saturday, so we can really just hone in and prepare for them the best. But I think if we just use the momentum and the confidence that we have built in with this group in those last couple weeks, I think that will help us tremendously. And to kind of just back off of things like, we dropped some early games early in the year, and those are the games now we're winning. We found a way to, adapt to that pressure. We found a way to close out a game with 3 outs. We have found ways to get out of innings with bases loaded. We have found ways to score in pressure situations. And I think that's really contagious once you start getting into conference. And like I said, we just got to be better at our execution than they are, and it should come out to a good series for us.
Saturday at noon and 2 down I-70. I've had the thought driving to Fort Hays State for football, basketball, other things. It's like you're going west. My sister and her family are in Denver. It's like, dang, I keep going a few hours. I could go see them.
I know.
So I'm sure maybe that will come to mind going 4 hours west down I-70. But business first, softball at Fort Hays State. MIAA opener, that's a pretty big deal. Saturday at noon and 2. Ayva McComas and Coach Nicole Thompson. Ladies, thanks so much. Great weekend, and good luck again this weekend.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks for the time. Nicole Thompson, Ayva McComas joining us up here on the mic. Got to keep it rolling. We'll talk some basketball. We'll start off with women's, and Ashton Feldhaus up to talk about her team's 2 victories this past week as they get set to face Arkansas Fort Smith in the MIAA tournament this Friday night. We discuss it on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Talking Missouri Western basketball now. It is March, and it is postseason time as Missouri Western women's basketball in the MIAA tournament as the number 3 seed after a remarkable regular season, 19-8 overall, 14-5 in the league. 2 big wins this week at Emporia State Wednesday, and then a senior day victory against Newman Saturday where we celebrated Jaden Schomp, Matilda Soderland, and Allyssa Bonilla. And then you throw in there Cassie Karen going off for a combined 57 points this week. Coach, that game at Emporia, we know it got tight, down by 9. Cassie, the big difference maker there to get us over the finish line. And then Newman settled into that second quarter, just kept looking. So needless to say, a great way to end our regular season.
Yeah, no, it was a really good week for us. I told you, great way to send us into tournament time. Emporia, it was a fun game. I thought it was a fun. I did not think we played bad at all. I thought it was a fun game. I thought they played well. They had a great atmosphere. It was loud, kind of perfect leading right up to tournament time. And then obviously Cassie had the best game of her career by far. And she single-handedly willed us to a win, which was perfect. And that's kind of what you're hoping as a coach. You got players who can step up and do that, especially in March. And then obviously Newman, it was a good senior night for us. I thought it was the appropriate way to send those 3 off. And then again, we had everybody was kind of in tune to it. We played great as a team. So yeah, I thought that was perfect. A good tune-up game in preparation for this week.
Now I know on Saturday, seeing Kelsey Johnson go down in that first half hurts, but we said that in postgame. You didn't even have to say anything. Everyone's going over there to to offer support and do what they can. I mean, we see moments of it throughout the year, but that I think to me spoke to just the tightness and the togetherness of this group.
We're a small group, so inevitably we're tight. But you talk about Kelsey, and it's kind of what we talked about after the game. She was distraught, and as were all of us, because she goes from kind of not being in the fold at all to working her tail off and being in it. And when we talk about being selfless and a good teammate, every single time we make that point as a coaching staff, we go to Kelsey Johnson. So I know she was torn up, and so are we. So we've got 3 doctor's appointments today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and we'll be right there with her because, you hate to see a kid go through that. But I know our team, we kind of talked about it. You play for something a little bit bigger now. We're down to 9, which is it is what it is. But Kelsey's the one in practice when Alyssa's tired, Kelsey steps in and just takes that. So Kelsey's the one that just fills holes for everybody. So you feel for her as a coach, but I think her teammates do the right thing in letting her know, like, hey, we've got you. And she's still just as big of a part of what we do now as she was before. So we're waiting on information on that. But you're right. The way our team responded is exactly the way I thought they would.
Well, and maybe this is a stretch, but I feel like her presence this time of year, she played in 3 Final Fours in a row in Missouri. She's used to long seasons in March, and she's used to high pressure. And obviously a local kid, I know a lot of people thinking about her, so we're cheering for her. But you said it down to 9. I mean, that's happened a couple times. Jaden couldn't play a game due to a flare-up. I think that was at Kearney. And Matilda last Saturday, sick, essentially couldn't play. So I know it seems scary outside looking in, but 9 players, I mean, it's not like you're unprepared for that.
No, last year at Eckerd, we finished our season with 7. We had 7 total kids. I had 2 subs on the bench. That's it. That's all we had was 7. So I'm not, it's not new for me to have small numbers at all. It's all I ever had at Eckerd. You hate to see that happen, but we don't make excuses for our kids. We continue on just the way we always would, and you're looking for other people to step up and take some of those minutes, and that's how we'll continue on. And again, right now you're just on everything from this point on is a bonus, right? So you're in the conference, we go as far as we can, and then hoping to make it to the national tournament, we're going as far as we can. So there's no time for excuses. We just got to do what we need to do.
Well, we know where we're at, the 3 seed in the MIAA tournament, a rematch with Arkansas Fort Smith, and 8:15, and that's on the optimistic end for the tip-off on Friday night. And that's a game where we go down there 2 weeks ago, and we've kind of hammered this home, but played well enough to win for, I'd say, about 90% of it. 100%. They go on their run at the end, and kudos to them. They're a good team. Anna Trusty in particular, that's their stud freshman. Arkansas Gatorade Player of the Year. And they have a handful of, I'd say, are lanky forwards that can get in there and do some damage. We saw them 2 weeks ago. I think this time of year it's not so much as it is scout as it is, preparation within our walls, right?
100%, 100%. So I liked our matchup just because we did see him 2 weeks ago. Nothing is new. That's the exact team we're playing, and you're right, Anna's great. I wouldn't be shocked if she was our freshman of the year. I think she should be. She does it at all. She scores at all 3 levels. She's impressive, and she had 27 on us as a freshman. So we didn't get the stops we needed, and we were in command pretty much the entire game. We were also in foul trouble, and you've talked about this. If Cassie's not on the floor, we're really going to struggle. So they're going to go right at her to start the game. So we've got to figure out how to defend and stay out of foul trouble. They shot 33 free throws, I think, last time we played them, or something crazy. We just didn't move well laterally. Coach and I have already watched the game, I think, 3 times, and we'll watch it 10 more before we play on Thursday or on Friday. But it comes down to, can we get the stops that we need to get, and then can we execute offensively? We were kind of a mess, and some of that was on me. We got stops early, pushed in transition, but but never got anything out of it. So we need to really capitalize. When they make a mistake, we need to make them pay. And then you talked about it already. Their length versus our guards is a struggle. So this week we've got to work on how to stretch the floor and stretch the defense, because I think where our kids are used to just attacking and beating people's feet, there's like longer arms and legs everywhere, and that was new for them. So yeah, we've got a lot to work on. I'm glad we don't play till Friday, because every single day we have this week, we've got stuff we can be focused on for Fort Smith.
Well, I know you're a planner, you're an organizer. You like to lay out your week, so that's good for all of us. Nothing really happening until Friday for both men's and women's basketball. And you talked about, I'd say for freshman of the year, it's a coin flip between Trusty and Taylor Weiser from a few minutes across the river at Central Missouri. But Allyssa Bonilla, we know that, is going to have a strong argument for player of the year, if not first team all conference, and a handful of other Griffins that we know are at least nominated. So all conference basketball teams coming out later this week, and not very late. It's within the next 24 to 48 hours that they'll let that go. So we look forward to that, and no doubt some deserving people there. But in the meantime, more basketball to be played. Missouri Western Friday night, 8:15 against Arkansas Fort Smith Municipal Auditorium. Make a plan, get there early. Parking's going to be tight, and be loud. And if you can't be there, listen to it right here on the Griffin Sports Network. Coach, thanks so much. We'll see you there.
Thank you, Tom.
There you go. Ashton Feldhaus joining us to talk women's basketball, but they're not the only team that's going to be playing there in Kansas City. Our men getting ready to face Rogers State on Friday afternoon at 2:15. We discussed that with Coach Will Martin, and sophomore guard Matt Schneider will join us to talk about it next on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Final segment of the program today, talking Missouri Western men's basketball. Yes, it is March. It is postseason basketball time, getting ready for, objectively, the greatest small college basketball tournament in the United States of America, the MIAA tournament in downtown Kansas City, where the men's basketball team will be the 6th seed. But we recap, at least briefly, the week that just was with head coach Will Martin and a 6'5" sophomore guard from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, from Siegel High School, same high school as Zion Swader, Matt Schneider joining us. Matt, thank you for being up here. Interesting week, to say the least. A shootout at Emporia State that we end up being on the wrong end of, but a nice bounce back against a very gritty Newman team that we knew they had a lot to play for as well, but an 82-78 win. Saturday, we honor 8 seniors, and it's the most regular season wins in 22 years. Back-to-back years with 17-plus wins. That hasn't happened in 22 years, but Coach Martin, you said not so much a credit. I mean, you and your staff are to be credited, but you were the first to say it's the 8 seniors and these guys who have left now a lasting legacy for this program.
Yeah, just so proud of our senior group and, what they've done to kind of, lay the mortar and the brick to build a foundation of something that can be sustainable. And, that's been my rally cry this whole time since becoming a head coach is, I want to build something that's going to last, not something that's just like a hot flash. And so when you look at what those guys have accomplished, they did their job in making Missouri Western men's basketball relevant again.
Matt joining us after a season-high versus Division II opposition on Saturday, coming off the bench second half. 7 points, and you felt like they were all in big moments. A big offensive rebound in there on a putback, and then a big clutch three-pointer, 3 of 5 from the field. And Matt, you get the seniors told you, no, you can ring the bell after that win on Saturday. I know there's so much emphasis on that great group, but what for you personally to experience that game with those guys? What did that mean to you to come in and make an impact?
Yeah, I mean, it was special because I told them afterwards that what happened out there, it was for them. And they've been encouraging me all year and always telling me to stay ready no matter what happened, because they knew that a moment like that would come. And coaches told me that as well. And, I just stayed prepared. I stayed in the gym. And then when that moment came, it kind of just, unfolded.
Yeah. Now, I meant to ask you before you came up, you graduated from Siegel. Your first year on campus, 21-22, you redshirted. So you and Zion, were you the same high school
We
class?
were, yes,
okay,
sir.
I thought that was the case. Meant to ask you off air, and I forgot. But now your 4th year on campus, you didn't play a couple years ago, and now called upon here in moments of this season. You had a big impact in the season opener last year against Augustana. For you to kind of be a guy that's, maybe had to wait behind some really talented people, but to step up when your number has called, how have you enjoyed just kind of playing that role and bouncing back healthy this last year or so?
Every single second I'm on that court, I appreciate it, because being out 2 years, you never take a second for granted, because it's just such an amazing game. And so when I'm out there, I just know that I'm going to give everything I got, and I'm going to enjoy the game that I love since a kid.
And obviously, Will, he's from your neck of the woods, Nashville proper. Murfreesboro a bit further to the south and east, but you know that area of your home state well. And you said on Saturday that you felt like you put Matt in there, you'd have some favorable matchups in that game.
Well, look, it's a close game down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we're fighting to extend our season. In moments like that, as a coach, you want to put guys in that you think will, literally run their head through a wall for you. And me putting Matt in the game in that situation just shows how much I trust him as not just a basketball player, but as a person, and knowing what he's willing to sacrifice for this program and for his teammates and for us as a staff. And so I've always known that he's had that since he was 15 years old. Just his character, his attitude, the way he approaches every day. And so I look up at the clock, and it's a 4 or 5 minute game. Justin's in foul trouble. I'm looking at the bench. I'm going to rock with the guy who I know is going to be willing to put everything on the line out there. And so it starts in practice every day. It starts with who he is as a teammate every single day. It hasn't been easy for Matt. Like you talked about the medical red shirt, but then he played fantastic all preseason. And from an analytical standpoint and from a field standpoint, it was no debate for me and my staff to have him in the starting lineup. Obviously, we don't play great against Lubbock Christian. We changed the lineup a little bit, and now he's, having to go through that process, that ego process, that alchemy process of like, okay, I went from everything that I suffered through, and then I came through that. I'm a starter. Now I have that kind of proverbially taken away, and how do I process that, and how do I still remain a really good teammate, even though I feel like something's kind of been taken from me, right? I mean, is that fair? And he's done that in a way that, it would be tough for a 35, 40, 60-year-old to do. For him to do that at the age that he is, and the way that he processed that, and the way that he would come and talk to me and ask, me, like, what can I do to be, better for the team? That's what I'm most proud of. And those things, the reason why I mention them, those go into my decision to putting him in the game in those moments when literally our season's on the line. And so I think that Matt can leverage that for the future. I think that that's something that, he still has 2 years of playing left. I think that he can take this experience of this year and leverage that for not only his individual success, but the success of this program. But there's no one in this world that I trust more in a oh crap situation. Everything's on the line. You get to roll the dice one time. I'm going with Matt Schneider.
Will Martin and Matt Schneider joining us up here. And Matt, going back to Zion real quick, when I think of this senior class, it's like so many standout individuals, so many guys with leadership qualities, guys who've been here a long time, a Kiani, a Juice, Justin Bubak, who scored 40 points this week as a fifth-year guy. But for Z, someone you've known a long time, and to see him, kind of take control of that point guard position and play some of his best ball in his senior year, what's it been like just being on this ride with Zion?
I mean, it's been awesome. Like, that's a brother for me. I've known him since fifth grade when he scored 32 on my elementary school team. And it's just been such a treat and a blessing. And I actually had a moment with him when Coach put me in the second time after Justin fouled out. And I went up to him and I just said, we do this. Like, we've been doing this since we were kids. And we went out there and did it. And it was just really special to share that moment with him. And also just, all the memories we've made since being here.
Well, focusing on this week, getting ready to rematch against Rogers State, a 2:15 tip-off on Friday. Now, Rogers, these are two teams. Everyone's motivated. The records are 0-0, but a Rogers team that has 22 wins and not regionally ranked. So they, you probably feel like they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder. And we know what happened. They humbled us. Credit to them in February. We go down there and they beat us. But for the first time since 2021, this team will start the conference tournament in quarterfinals, Coach. We're used to playing that play-in on Wednesday. What's the advantage of getting to wait for Friday in this case?
Practice, I told you that after the game before we knew what our seeding was going to be. I think that the 2 extra days of practice to focus on us is the most important aspect and the most advantageous of being able to play on Friday. I think it also gives us time to, go and watch some games, whether that's on the live stream or not. I got to get with Madeline because I know we're not supposed to live scout, but I don't think that's the case during the MIAA tournament. But anyways, it just gives you more time. So the main thing is practice with these guys to focus on us. It also gives you more time, from a scouting perspective for my staff. And then, like I said, when we win on Friday, you're able to watch that game on Thursday. Whether we're able to watch it live or not, we'll be able to watch that Hayes game, and that's an advantage as well.
Yeah, Central Missouri Northeastern play-in. They'll play Fort Hays State in the other quarterfinal. Then Saturday, 2:15, it could be some combination of UCM, Northeastern, or Hayes that we'd play on Saturday at 2:15. Matt, for you, I guess just from inside that locker room, this team ends on a high note. Maybe not the easiest of years all the time, but you guys have put together a solid resume, and I think we've learned that this league perhaps a bit more wide open than it's been in recent years. Just, I don't know. I mean, what is the belief that this team can get to Sunday and be cutting down nets?
I mean, I think we have the utmost confidence in ourselves. We see the season as 0-0 right now, and like Coach was saying, we have a week to prepare. And, I mean, I'm willing to roll the dice with us against anybody in the country. And, I mean, you're telling me that we have 3 games to win a conference championship. I'm taking us in all 3.
Absolutely. Missouri Western looking to get to the championship Sunday for the first time since 2009. Haven't been to semis since 2021, and only 1 game now separates Western from getting to the Final Four in the conference tournament on Saturday. And it's Friday afternoon, 2:15, approximate airtime of 1:45 on the Griffon Sports Network. The Hillcats and the Griffons, a pair of top 6 teams going at it in the MIAA tournament quarterfinals. As I said with the women, if you're going to go support the men, make a plan, get there early, know where you're going to park. It's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle down there with some of the construction and things going on, but what a terrific venue and atmosphere for a small college basketball tournament. Coach, Matt, that was so much fun Saturday. Congrats to you guys. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Faith. Appreciate the time. There you go. Matthew Schneider and Will Martin, a couple of Tennesseans joining us up here on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, and that is going to put a wrap on the program for today. A big thanks to Will Martin, Ashton Feldhaus, Damian Stambersky, Nicole Thompson, Jess Berg, Cody Ingold, student athletes Allyssa Mahone, Ayva McComas, and Matt Schneider. A great lineup today. So much to talk about. So, again, I say stay tuned to GoGriffins.com throughout the week. Again, no baseball tomorrow. That's been postponed due to weather, and we'll be down there on Friday all weekend long for as long as we need to be for Missouri Western men's and women's basketball in March. Baseball's at home. Everybody else basically competing on the road. Lacrosse on the road, softball on the road. So best of luck to those teams. And men's golf competing today and tomorrow down in Rogers, Arkansas. Good luck to all of our Griffs. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. This has been the GSI Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezonch. Subscribe to the show, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you podcast. Talk to you next time.